UFC Paris Fight Night, Moicano versus BSD. Let's talk about my full card predictions and let's just address the elephant in the room. Stop. Listen. The elephant has been addressed. Yes, I got to read to his chat. It doesn't look good right now, but just give it time. Chat, you got to give it time to marinate. It's going to marinate, all right? But let's get into the full card predictions. I'll be real. This card's not that bad. I feel like it's pretty stacked to an extent. I like the main card better. Like, listen, you could trust my prelim picks, but just know that I'm really going hard for the main card and the main event and the co-main event specifically, and some of the other main cards. I know what's going to happen. Prelims, I'm not going to guarantee 100%, but let's get into the video. First off, we're starting with the first fight of the night. We got Bolaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. Bolaji Oki is undefeated in the UFC so far. His striking looks good. He's one of the better strikers in the UFC. And then Chris Duncan's coming off a loss against Torres, who we just saw fight recently. He got submitted by him. This fight, I don't really know either guy too much, but I will say from what I saw from Oki's highlights, he looks pretty solid as far as the striking goes. So I feel like he's going to do enough to overwhelm Chris Duncan and get the win. Second fight of the night, we got Nora Cornoelle versus Jacquline Cavalcanti. Striker versus striker, but what I've seen from Jacquline specifically, I feel like she has a really good striking base that leads her to overwhelming her opponents a lot. So I can feel like I can see her overwhelming Nora. It's probably going to go decision, bro. All female fights go decision. So I do think this is going to go the distance. I do think Nora is going to be able to weather the storm and take the punches from Jacquline, but I do think Jacqueline's just going to overwhelm her with the just constant strike volume. She's scored, like, there's a time Jacquline hit like over 120, 130 strikes in one round. So it shows me that Jacquline knows how to throw hands, knows how to throw kicks and all that. So I do think Jacqueline's going to win. It's striker versus striker, and I'm leaning towards Jacquline. Third fight of the night, we got Daniel Barez versus Victor Altamirano. Hope I said that last name right. Daniel Barez is coming off 2 losses back-to-back, but so is Victor. But the difference is, this Victor guy, I watched him with my own 2 eyes beat Felipe Dos Santos, but they robbed him out the victory. So I know Victor is pretty good. This fight's still going to be close. I don't know, like, I don't even know the odds for this fight because I don't really care about the odds. I just look at like their film and stuff. From what I've seen, I do like this Victor guy. He was able to mix in wrestling against Felipe Dos Santos, but Daniel Barra is going to be a lot harder to take down. So that's why I'm kind of mixed. This is really like a 50-50 fight for me. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to lean towards Victor Altamirano. His other loss in the UFC was against Tim Elliott, but I feel like Tim Elliott is also pretty sound. Also, I feel like Victor is pretty good. I feel like he's complete, and I feel like he'll do enough to beat Barez, but it's going to be a really hard fight if he thinks he's going to just go in there and beat Barez. Probably going to be a little harder than that. Next up, we got Alini Perez versus Dariya Z. I'm going to call it Dariya Z because I'm not pronouncing whatever the hell that last name is. This is a classic wrestler versus striker. Alini Perez is really good at imposing her will in the wrestling. Dariya is really good at striking. I don't think Dariya is going to get the appropriate space that she probably needs to beat Alini Perez on points and just like jabbing and moving. So I think Alini Perez is going to make it ugly. Use her striking to get inside, and once she gets inside, she's going to wrestle. So I'm going to lean towards Alini Perez, and we're rooting for that win because if she wins the fight, chat, we know we're going to get a twerk show. So let's just pray that she wins, chat. Because if she wins, bro, we all in for a show. So, yeah, I do think Alini Perez is going to win no matter what happens. But I feel like her wrestling is just going to be too much. She's going to overwhelm her, outwork her, and win the fight. Now we got Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. Victor Morales is coming off back-to-back losses. But while Taylor's last loss was against Farid Basharat, who I think is really elite and really talented. So I don't even take that loss that bad for him. And I feel like it's a pretty easy win for Taylor Lapilus. I feel like he's going to go in there, impose his will in the striking, and just overwhelm him. I feel like Victor Morales is just a lamb to the slaughter. He's supposed to go in and lose this fight, and that's what's going to happen in fight night. Next up, we got Ludovit Klein, which is a really good fighter in my opinion, versus Roosevelt Roberts. Roosevelt Roberts is a lamb to the slaughter as well. He is riding a 3-fight losing streak, so of course I don't see him going in there and be fucking Klein. I think Klein's going to wash him. Klein's on a 3-fight win streak, but he has a win over Ignacio, who's aging very well because Ignacio just had a great fight in his last appearance in the Mexico card. And then he had a win over Thiago Moises, his most recent win. I think Thiago Moises is also a pretty established lightweight. So the fact that he's doing this against pretty established, talented lightweights, it's telling me that he's actually a pretty talented fighter. And I think he's going to make it far. And Roosevelt Roberts is just in there to get embarrassed. That's how I see it. I just think this is like a little thing, a booster for Klein. So Ludovit Klein's going to go in there. He's going to comfortably win any way he wants. He can mix it up how he wants to, but I feel like he's going to be victorious. He's probably going to end up finishing him as well. All right, now we got Oumar Sky, the undefeated prospect, versus Jung Da Un. Hope I said that name right. See, some of these prelim fights, it's kind of like obvious at what they're trying to do. The UFC's trying to make them go in there and like kind of just loot. They're trying to make them go in there and build their resume, so they're putting up against people they should win. The guy from China though, he's pretty tough. I've seen his like fights highlights. He's a tough guy, so he's not going to be like an easy fight for Oumar Sky. But let's see how Oumar Sky could like produce some power in his hands. I know he's probably going to try to go for the finish, but we'll see how he ends up doing. He hasn't lost yet, so this could either be his first L, a learning experience, or this could be a time he just runs through someone who's not meant to be in the octagon with him. So time will tell, but I'm definitely leaning towards Sky in this fight. Then we got the household name of Cuda Laba. Cuda Laba is always game to fight, and he's versing a newer guy in the scene named Ivan Urslan. This is a heavy hand battle. With this fight, I don't like I don't really have someone I would point to like it's an obvious winner, because I do think Cutelaba is kind of becoming that gatekeeper guy who's gonna keep you out if you're not a good light heavyweight. Like if you're not good, he'll make sure you don't go up the rankings or anything. Ruslan can either make Cutelaba look kind of weak in the fighting department and kind of overwhelm him, or vice versa, and Cutelaba could go in there and pretty much slaughter Islam. But what I see from Islam, he's a good Russian fighter. He looks like he has heavy hands, so I feel like he will have the ability to put Cutelaba away, because I've seen Cutelaba's chin look a little bit you know what I'm saying? His chin looks a little bit like my hairline now because I fucking got this haircut. But yeah, for this fight, I'm going to lean towards Ruslan, but anyone can win the fight. All right, finally, now we're in the main card. This is what I've been waiting for. These fights I could actually get into better detail with, could actually know more about what will happen in these fights. Starting out with Ziam versus Matt Frevola. This one's going to be a close banger. I feel like Matt Frevola, like, yeah, he lost to BSD, but I don't think BSD's all that bad. Yes, BSD got embarrassed by Dustin Poirier, but Dustin Poirier's that different level of lightweight. So this fight's going to be fun in the fact that anything could happen. I feel like Ziam's going to come in confidently and think he could handle Frevola, but I really feel like Matt Frevola is a very complete fighter, and he only ever loses to the best. So I don't think this guy's the best. I don't know too much about him to even say he's like elite, and I do think Frevola's going to end up getting this win pretty comfortably. Could be close, but I'm definitely leaning towards Frevola, who, by the way, is an underdog. So if you didn't know, Frevola's actually an underdog in this fight. I saw the odds. I was a little bit surprised. So definitely put your money on Frevola because they're sleeping on my boy. All right, now we got Morgan Chairrere, I hope I said his last name right, versus Gabriel Miranda. These guys are both pretty good. Miranda's only L is to BSD, but I really feel like it's pretty clear of a win for Morgan. I feel like Morgan's one of the French hometown guy. They're trying to give him a fight that is going to improve his skill level, but also show if he's legit. And I feel like Morgan is legit. He has his moments. I think he's a very talented striker and pretty well-rounded, honestly. So I think he's going to go in there. He's going to beat Miranda, make it look pretty easy, and it's going to be an easy win for him. This fight right here, like, I love everything about this fight. Kevin Jousett versus Bryan Battle. Both of these guys are such good strikers to watch. Of course, Bryan Battle's last fight was a little bit weird. Ended prematurely due to like an eye poke. I forgot it was something of the sort. It was like some illegal shot of the sort. But Bryan Battle was beating the fuck out of him before that fight ended. So we got Bryan Battle, who's a very elite striker. And Kevin Jousett is such like he reminds me of like the fundamental like New Zealand kickboxers. Like reminds me kind of Izzy style, just a lot less Izzy, but he has a really good traditional kickboxing style, and I feel like it will overwhelm someone like Battle if Battle can't get him out of there early. But I think the fight's going to be very competitive. Kevin Jousett slept on. Let me just say that. I do think he's a very elite like striker all around, and I feel like he can strike with anyone, including Bryan Battle. But I feel like the speed advantage for Bryan will be a little bit too significant for Jousett to keep up with. So I'm going to small lean towards Battle. I don't know what the odds are for this fight, but I'm assuming they're going to have Bryan Battle as a favorite. Just because, like I said, I feel like the speed advantage might be a little bit too significant for Jousett. But no matter who wins this fight, I know it's going to be a fun fight while it lasts on the feet. And if Jousett can weather the early storm, he can maybe make it competitive. But I still am going to lean towards Bryan Battle because, like his name says, bro, that guy likes to battle. He likes to go to war. And I feel like he's going to go into another war with Jousett, and he's going to come out on top. Then we got William Gomis versus JoAnderson. I feel like everyone's glazing Brito in this fight, and I feel like it's for good reason because, of course, he's running a 5-fight win streak, and he just came off a knockout victory against Jake Shore. So I feel like the glaze is worth it. William Gomis is going to be tough, but I feel like he's not going to be tough enough to give Brito much adversity. He might make it competitive on the striking, but I feel like JoAnderson Brito could just mix it up a little bit better if needed to. He doesn't really need to mix it up, but if he has to, I feel like he's going to have the advantage over Gomis. So I am going to lead towards Brito. Now that brings us to the co-main event of the evening. Nassourdone Imavov versus Brendan Allen. You guys know, I've been saying, I actually used to make threads on my Twitter talking about Imavov, talking about how I feel like he's the dark horse, how he's so slept on, he's an underrated fighter. Of course, his performance against Chairrere wasn't bad. I do think Chairrere was slightly getting the better of him. The stoppage was a little bit anti me, but I do think Nassourdone Imavov is still an elite, great striker. Now, Brendan Allen, he's a great grappler. He's good for what he's good at what he does in the grappling department. However, in his last fight against another striker like Chris Curtis, when the grappling wasn't working for him, he looked like he had nothing else to do. I did think Chris Curtis did enough to win. I feel like Imavov is a more crisp striker than someone like Chris Curtis. I will say Chris Curtis' style is like kind of difficult to fight. He's similar to Sean Strickland with the forward pressure, but I do think Imavov is a little bit better of a kickboxer than someone like Chris Curtis. So I feel like he's going to present Allen a lot of problems that maybe Chris Curtis wasn't able to exploit as far as the kicking game goes, not just the boxing. I feel like Imavov is going to be in and out the whole fight, trying to land and get out, and I feel like it's going to cause Allen some problems. Allen's going to try to wrestle. I know his game plan is to be to wrestle and just hold on to Nassourdone Imavov, but Imavov's grappling is low-key slept on. He does have submission ability if needed. He does have good grappling if needed. His defensive grappling is my only worry because I don't want him to be too complacent on his back if he gets taken down. I want him to try getting up and try to keep it on the feet because that's his game plan. That should be his game plan at least. So I feel like this fight's gonna be close, man. And it's the thing with, like, if Allen loses this fight, it's kind of like get him out of the picture because, like I said, you barely beat Chris Curtis. So even having this shot against Imavov is like, it should be like a blessing to you. It should be like, you should be grateful for even having this opportunity, because I really think Imavov is like a level ahead of him. So I do think in this fight, Imavov should keep it standing. I do think he's going to outpoint him in this fight. It might go the distance. It probably will go the distance. I think it's going to just be Nassourdone Imavov winning at least 3 rounds, 4 rounds maybe. It might be split, it might be UD, but at the end of the day, Imavov will get his hand raised. Could he finish Allen? I don't know. I think Allen's pretty tough, but I still think Nassourdone Imavov has enough weapons. Maybe not 1 punch KO or something, but maybe a TKO due to accumulation of punches similar to the Jacquline fight. So I do have Nassourdone Imavov beating Brandan Allen. The main event of the evening, we got Money Moicano versus BSD. Okay, the thing about BSD and Moicano is I feel like both of them, I've called both of them overrated on my channel, my TikTok, all that, because I do think both of them are overrated to an extent. The only vast difference, I will say, they both good at grappling, but I feel like BSD, if he wants to stand and bang with you, he'll stand and bang with you. I feel like Moicano's going to want to wrestle more than BSD wants to wrestle, but BSD will still be okay with wrestling with him. Like, if Moicano wants to wrestle and BSD, okay, let's wrestle. BSD will wrestle. But when they're forced to strike, I'm looking at both strikers, and I am going to favor someone like BSD on the feet, and I feel like BSD might even have the power to hurt or drop Moicano. Like even in Moicano's last fight where he got dropped by Jalen Turner and he just gave him the win, he walked away. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna let you get up and beat me up. Lucky ass win for Moicano. Bro, I'm not even trying to hate on Moicano, but he's a little bit overrated. No, a lot of bit overrated. And I feel like someone like BSD is gonna be able to go in there and comfortably beat him. Like he might even make it look easy. He might even finish him early. BSD's gonna get back on that hype train. The thing about BSD, he's not even horrible. The only thing, he lost to Dustin Poirier, like I said. I don't think Dustin Poirier's a bad fighter. Dustin Poirier gave Islam a pretty good fight. So that loss didn't even age horribly for BSD. So I do think BSD has what it takes to go in there and beat Moicano pretty comfortably. Probably either by KO, TKO, or points. It's going to be like a double chance. If you're going to put money on it, throw money on BSD. He's going to end up winning. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter when, but he will win. Probably before the end of 5 rounds. I don't even know if this goes the distance. Both guys not really known for having absurd gas tanks. And I feel like BSD has a way better finishing ability. So BSD is probably going to finish this guy. And he's going to show Moicano that he's just not on the level of these other fighters. But those are my predictions, bro. If you want to make money, bro, you just follow my predictions. It's pretty easy. That's it for me. This card's kind of slept on, and God bless. 2, 3.